Hello everyone. Let's talk about Monster Hunter Wilds. There are plenty of things I don't like about it, and I really wish I was more vocal about not enjoying Monster Hunter World. Like, yeah, there were some good parts about Monster Hunter World, but thinking about it now, I really wish I never cheered it on because of World, we have Wilds, and Wilds is not a good Monster Hunter game. It's going to be made for the masses, and we see a bunch of those changes, and it's because one, games today are so expensive. So you can't have something that's going to be really difficult to understand. You can't have those difficult mechanics from the past because that requires too much thinking. Even if you will put 100 tutorials, they would rather go an easier route and make the game much easier, and that's just it. And have tutorials for those easy things instead of having tutorials for the difficult stuff and just accepting difficulty as it is. You have to change things around. And there were reports of this being the easiest Monster Hunter game, just like how World was dubbed the easiest Monster Hunter game, and Rise was dubbed the easiest Monster Hunter game. I'm seeing a pattern over here. It's like every new entry is going to be the easiest Monster Hunter game ever. Very soon we won't have any fun at all in the game because everything is tedious, we must change things. And I have to talk about the lie of the quality of life changes. I used to believe this stuff too until I started thinking for myself, realizing that there was no good quality of life change. Quality of life is a myth. It is you could say something that people say to justify these changes, to act as if these changes are good. They're not good. Not every change is good. Okay? Substituting chicken with fake meat doesn't consider it to be a quality of life thing. So why are we praising every single change with the term quality of life? I'm sorry, but you just have to play the game as it is. Every game plays differently. Well, now they don't want to play differently, but back in the day, they played differently. You had to rewire your brain every time you jump to a different game because you have to learn those movements, those techniques. But now it's like no one wants to at least try to learn. I get it, like some people may have problems with the old games, but guess what? Like when I struggled with the game, I still continued to play it. And that's the thing, it's like you're not allowed now to just just have fun. Like here's the thing, I'm not the best player in Monster Hunter. I suck always. But what really irks me is that a lot of the fun mechanics, the mechanics that wanted you to think, aren't there anymore. And this isn't the case just with Monster Hunter. It's with a lot of video games that they're following this trend where they would rather make something that's hyper consumable for a larger market than to make something that's gonna gain like 4 or 5 million sales, which that is quite good. If you're making for a niche audience, that's quite good of a sales number. But obviously, Capcom got the taste of 20 million sales, so obviously, um, we're gonna get this game reaching a lot of sales, and a lot of people will act as if this game is the best ever, even though it's not. It's not going to be the best Monster Hunter ever. But a lot of people will praise it because of its changes, if it's irksome changes, and because it's so accessible. I'm sorry, but all you need is tutorials to tell you how to do the difficult thing, and that's it. You don't need any other kind of change in a Monster Hunter game. Okay, save the new monsters and the new environments, but you don't need that much change. Okay, you don't need to change everything. You don't need to change a circular wheel or a triangular wheel. Just accept it as it is. Maybe have a different color of paint, but that's just it. You don't need to be doing such rigorous changes. But these days, you have to only do that. A lot of people have complained about microtransactions, and I purchased microtransactions for Monster Hunter World and Rise years ago, and I regret that because this isn't going to end. And I remember when Sunbreak came out, when there was a massive debate about whether or not we should have these types of microtransactions. And one of the excuses, I believe, I'm sure many people also peddle, was it's just cosmetics. It's no big deal. It's not forced upon you. So if it's just cosmetics, I believe that, and I was wrong. It doesn't matter if it's cosmetics or not. I'm sorry, but why is it there in the first place? Why is it there in the first place? I'm kind of tired of it. Like come on, really? It doesn't matter if it's cosmetics or not. It shouldn't be a thing. It shouldn't be a thing in Monster Hunter and in most games either. You know? So why are we justifying this just because it's Monster Hunter? And speaking of justifications, remember when um, the demo came out? A lot of people had problems, had some troubling problems. Certain things were glitching out. Certain characters looked like origami, or they looked like fish mouths. If you guys ever played with a fish mouth before, you know what I'm talking about. Um, they just looked like paper, like folded triangular paper. And the general response was, "OMG, this is so adorable," or "OMG, this is so cool." They were fawning over it rather than calling it out. I remember coming across one Reddit post that actually called out this type of behavior, but a lot of people in the comments were really angry at him. It's like, excuse me. If this was a different video game, if this was, you could say, from a different company, and that demo was out, millions of those of YouTube videos would be saying this game is over, this game is dead. You would have those large commentary channels talk about how bad the game is, but no, for some reason people have to justify it. Now, even if let's just say this was a different game, not from Capcom, and they fixed all the issues, they would have lost already customers. Pre-orders would have been canceled. So many things would have happened. I'm just pointing out the facts that so many bad things would have happened. The company would have been shut down after a few months because no one gave it a try. That's what would have happened. Because these days people are really biased against some games. You know, like some glitches they will see for some games and they'll just pass it out as, oh, it's just a cool thing. But for other games it's like, excuse me, we have to kill it. I'm just saying that that the double standards are ridiculous, really ridiculous. The next thing is the fan service I want to talk about. A lot of people are fawning over Gemma's breasts, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, this is so cool!" But it's like, excuse me, really? Most of the armor sets for the females are covered up, and we are now praising an NPC's breasts. I remember a few months ago. I think, oh no, not a few months ago, years ago. I came across this thought in my head. One day, Monster Hunter will have like completely covered up characters, but then you'll have a character that shows up ankle, and everyone will be like, "OMG, guys, look at this! Look at this! Look at this great fan service!" They'll be like fawning over it because that's the trick. That's how it feels now. It's like a lot of them are cheering the small creative window, but it's like, do you guys not know that a bunch of the armor sets for the females are already covered up? Are you guys gonna pretend that it's not happening? Because most of the armors are covered up. And the reason why it was because back in 2020 there was a little leak, well not really, it was a leak, it was a gigantic leak Capcom had, and one of the leaks mentioned that diversity training. Certain things are not allowed to portray one gender having like covered up clothes while the other was like fire. It was not something that a lot of people looked into, but I remember that and I was really disappointed. And even when it came to Sunbreak, the updates, you could see the armor sets become genderless. Things have to be so androgynous. The females can't show a bit of leg. They have to be covered up. And I'm talking about the updates because Sunbreak for some of its content was still revealing, but then when the updates poured out, you could see the armor sets were really covered up. And now for the same thing, for this continuation, really, we get covered up armor sets for the most part, and a lot of people are just focusing on Gemma's breasts as if that's the best thing ever. I remember when Capcom's no, Monster Hunter, the official Monster Hunter Twitter made a joke about 69. I'm thinking, what? Excuse me, what? You censor the armor sets. You have these complete desexualization of some of the characters, the players, obviously, and you want to tell me that you are now making 69 jokes? Get the f out. Pardon my language, but it really irks me that you have the double standards. You're allowed to make certain jokes, the only approved ones. You're not allowed to make other types of stuff. You're not allowed to make other types of content because that's going to offend people. It's a double standards that really irk me, but I don't even think these people are self-aware of their double standards. So moving on from this, let me just say that the armor set fiasco was also ridiculous. Anyone who complained about the armor was considered grifters, as if they just joined with World. I'm sorry, but I was here for a long time. Okay, and then you had people saying that Monster Hunter was already woke. Excuse me. If it was already woke, then how come the older games look so different from now? How come the armor sets were revealing in the past, but now it isn't? Tell me again if it was still woke. And the worst part is that you're gonna get these types of justifications for everything in Monster Hunter. Just like people call everything quality of life, even though it isn't quality of life. There's no such thing as quality of life changes in Monster Hunter. You have a lot of people saying that, peddling this lie, which I used to push when I was younger, and then I grew up. Okay, and that's the problem. It's like this type of justification really irks me for almost anything, not just the armor sets, for everything really in Monster Hunter. Everything has to be justified. The only thing I feel like people are going to complain about is the weather system. You get three types of weather in Monster Hunter. I forgot the names of them, but I know the final one is something about abundance, where you get a vibrant, um, more living, more lifelike time, a small period. But you also get a regular period. Then you get this period where there's less life. There's just like some kind of horrible weather change, and a lot of people are going to get pissed off by it because there's only one weather change okay, no, one major drastic weather change per an environment. That's it. I don't even know if those weather changes are going to stay after the story, because we do know that the end game is causing all of that stuff. So we don't know if it's going to remain the same. People are going to get tired of it. And that's the thing, though. It's like this Monster Hunter game was definitely just hyped up for the for the glamour. That's just it. That's just it. You know. Sorry for this big rant. Now, so many things are just falling apart, but I have to also blame myself for justifying these changes back in the day, for tossing them aside. Even though there was some stuff I did not like about World, I kind of pushed them aside, and I just believed in everything. I believed in it all. No, no, I believed in other people's lie. Other people were fawning over this game, and I just followed, you know? So I'm sorry for doing that. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. I know it might be hard to hear me out because I'm swallowing some of my words and my throat is starting to hurt. But anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. Um, what can I say, but this game is going to make millions. Definitely. Definitely. I know you might get people who will say, oh, this game is going to sell. Yes, no doubt, definitely. But at this point, does it really matter if it's going to sell millions of copies when when it changed so much? You know, I'm not opposed to creating something that's going to be for everyone, that's going to get the most amount of audience, but you are taking something that had a niche audience and you're basically erasing most of it and redrawing stuff over its erased lines. And that's what it is basically. Instead of Capcom making a brand new game, a brand new experience where these things are okay, these changes are fine because they don't work with Monster Hunter, definitely. So they could have just made a brand new game and kept Monster Hunter as a niche thing. It would have been much better, you know. But instead, we're not getting that. We're not getting something like that. Games are too expensive to fail, and if some games are going to fail, it's because some people just did not have any interest in them in the first place, and of course, some companies are just going to struggle to change everything now. Um, for example, like Assassin's Creed Shadows, I don't think they expected that type of backlash, but that's the thing. It's like some games will get backlash, some games won't. Really odd, isn't it? It's like both are a bit ridiculous, isn't it? But I would say especially Monster Hunter for changing everything. And they should have just made a brand new game instead of having these mechanics in Monster Hunter. That's all I'm saying, really. Anyways, bye.